Mr. Speaker, this past week, the citizens of Ohio's 3rd Congressional District were met with the sad news that former Congressman Charles W. Whalen, Jr. passed away on Monday, June 27th, at Sibley Hospital in Washington, D.C. Born in Dayton, Ohio on July 31st, 1920, he was known throughout the community as Chuck. During World War II, he served as an Army First Lieutenant in the China, India, and Burma Theater. After earning a Master's of Business Administration from Harvard University, he worked as a professor of economics at his alma mater, the University of Dayton. He later became chairman of the University of Dayton's Economics Department in 1962. Before his election to Congress in 1966, Chuck was a 3-term member of both the Ohio State Senate and the Ohio General Assembly. While serving in the State House, he wrote Ohio's first fair housing law. While in Congress, Chuck retained his seat handily in every general election, even running unopposed for re-election in 1974. As a member of the House Armed Services Committee, Chuck worked to move our military to an all-volunteer Army. The Nixon administration, in developing legislation on this issue, adopted many of his recommendations, and today the U.S. has an entirely all-volunteer active-duty military force. In addition, he was focused on social reforms and supported the landmark Civil Rights Act of 1964. He was also one of the most traveled members of Congress and visited more than 150 countries, including every nation in Africa. Chuck was highly regarded for his ability to speak publicly, having been a college debate champion at the University of Dayton. So it should be no surprise that in retirement, he co-authored 2 books with his wife, a former journalist: The Longest Debate, A Legislative History of the 1964 Civil Rights Act, published in 1985, and The Fighting McCooks, America's Famous Fighting Family, published in 2006, focusing on 2 Ohio brothers and their 13 sons who served in the Union Army during the Civil War. Not one to be contained by the academic or literary worlds, he was also an avid sports fan and reveled in debating sports trivia and stats. He was president of Oakwood High School's class of 1938, and he is remembered for possessing extensive knowledge of pre-war aviation, largely due to Dayton being his birthplace. As a son of Ohio, Congressman Whalen made his final journey home and was buried in Calvary Cemetery in Dayton. Whalen is survived by his wife of 52 years, Barbara, and their 6 children, Charles, Daniel, Edward, Joseph, Anne, Mary, and their 7 grandchildren. Today, we remember the life and work of Congressman Whalen and thank him for his service to both the 3rd District of Ohio and also our nation.